Hello South Africa, and welcome back to the channel that keeps you informed, empowered, and prepared. Today, we are diving into a topic that could have a real impact on your wallet, your well-being, and your future. We are talking about SASSA in 2025, specifically, the hidden rule changes that could affect your grants, your eligibility, and even how much money lands in your bank account each month. These are not headline-grabbing announcements. These are quiet but powerful adjustments tucked away in fine print, new regulations, and procedural changes that many citizens aren't even aware of yet. But you don't need to panic, because in this video, we're going to break it all down in plain English. We'll walk through exactly what's changing, why it's happening, who's at risk of losing out, and how you can protect your payments in the months ahead. If you rely on old age pensions, disability grants, child support grants, or even the R350 SRD grant, this video is for you. Stay with us till the end, because some of the changes may not affect you today, but they could hit hard tomorrow if you're not prepared. The South African Social Security Agency, better known as SASSA, is undergoing a subtle but significant transformation in 2025. The big headlines might talk about grant increases or payment dates, but what many South Africans are missing are the policy shifts buried underneath. Let's be honest. Most people only pay attention when there's a new payment amount or when the SRD R350 gets renewed. But this year, it's not about how much, it's about how you qualify and how the government tracks your eligibility. While some of these changes are framed as efforts to improve efficiency and reduce fraud, and yes, there's certainly fraud to deal with, these adjustments can also mean that innocent beneficiaries might lose access to their lifeline benefits without warning. One of the most significant changes happening quietly behind the scenes involves data verification. In 2025, SASSA is increasing its reliance on automated systems to verify income, employment status, and even your living situation. This means they are linking with more government departments, banks, and even telecoms to cross-check your personal details in real time. Here's the twist: you may have nothing to hide, but if the system finds something it doesn't understand or misinterprets, like a small bank deposit from a friend or a temporary job, it could flag your profile for suspension. People who receive financial help from relatives might suddenly find themselves classified as over the income threshold. This has already begun to happen with SRD applicants, but now it's spreading to other grants, including old age grants and disability grants. And because it's automated, you may not get a phone call or explanation. You might just wake up one day to a declined application or worse, a frozen account. Yes, this is a big one. Starting in 2025, SASSA has started implementing closer scrutiny of beneficiary bank accounts. They claim it's to ensure that only those who truly qualify continue to receive payments. But this has triggered panic for thousands who may have legitimate reasons for unusual account activity. Let's say you receive money from your children every few months to help with groceries. Or perhaps someone helped you fix your roof and sent you a $2,000. Even though this isn't income, if it lands in your bank account and the system picks it up, it could affect your standing with SASSA. And because these reviews are now more frequent, it's not just a once-a-year check anymore. It could happen any month, at any time. What's more, if you use a private bank account rather than the SASSA card, the system may not interpret the data correctly, causing additional confusion and delays. Another sneaky change happening this year is the reduction in time between eligibility reassessments. Previously, you may have gone 2 or even 3 years before being asked to revalidate your documents. Now, many grant types, particularly disability and child grants, are being reassessed every 6 to 12 months. This means more paperwork, more doctor's letters, more income verification, and more chances for delays or errors. For some, this won't be a big deal. But for those in rural areas or those with limited mobility, gathering updated documents every few months can be incredibly difficult. What used to be a long-term safety net is now feeling more like a temporary voucher system, with ongoing stress about whether it will still be there next month. If you or a loved one receives a disability grant, 2025 brings more hoops to jump through. Medical assessments are being made stricter, and in many cases, the burden of proof has shifted further onto the applicant. Even people with long-standing chronic illnesses are being called back for new evaluations. And in some areas, the number of approved medical officers available for these assessments has been reduced, meaning longer wait times and missed deadlines. The result: grants are being suspended, not because someone recovered from their illness, but because they couldn't get an appointment in time. In some pilot regions, there's even talk of digital health screening tools, where your medical records will be auto-scanned for updates. If no new information appears, your grant could be flagged. It's a terrifying new reality. Here's something most people don't realize: in 2025, the window for appealing a rejected application or reapplying for a grant has been shortened. Previously, you may have had up to 90 days to appeal. In some cases now, it's 30 days or less. If you miss that window, your case may be considered closed even if the reason for rejection was just a clerical error. Even worse, some applicants are being told to reapply entirely rather than appeal, restarting the entire process from scratch. This is causing immense frustration, especially for elderly recipients who may not be comfortable navigating the online system or traveling to local offices. Let's talk about the new residency requirements and ID verification changes being enforced more rigorously this year. SASSA has started requiring more frequent proof of residence, especially for those who have moved recently or live in informal settlements. This has already led to mass disqualifications, particularly for SRD and child support grants. They've also introduced new biometric verification protocols, in some cases asking for fingerprint scans or face recognition through mobile apps. This is meant to fight fraud, but in practice, it's excluding some of the country's most vulnerable, including the elderly and the disabled who don't have access to smartphones or the internet. If your ID is expired, mismatched, or even if your surname changed due to marriage and wasn't updated across all systems, your grant could be delayed or denied. Now let's address a critical issue: digital exclusion. In 2025, more SASSA processes are shifting online. From application submissions to eligibility tracking, the move toward digital-only services is accelerating. While this might work well in urban areas with stable internet, millions of South Africans still struggle with basic connectivity. Those without smartphones or reliable network access are being pushed to the sidelines. They rely on physical SASSA offices, which are now overwhelmed, understaffed, and in many cases facing closure or reduced hours. This digital shift, while modern in theory, is in practice a barrier for the very people who need these grants the most. Here's something you haven't heard much about: the potential phasing out of the R350 SRD grant for certain groups. SASSA has started hinting that the R350 grant may be restructured in the near future, possibly becoming part of a broader basic income grant. While this sounds promising, the reality is that many current recipients may not qualify under the new rules. Already, stricter means tests are being trialed. And if a basic income grant replaces the SRD, expect new documentation requirements, income checks, and reduction in automatic renewals. This could create a situation where hundreds of thousands of people, especially the youth and unemployed over 35, fall through the cracks. Start by keeping meticulous records. Save every document, medical letter, and receipt that relates to your financial situation or health condition. Make copies. Keep both paper and digital versions. Next, if you're receiving funds from family, try to have those sent in ways that don't trigger alarm, for example, as gift payments clearly labeled in the transfer notes. Check your bank statements often and dispute any unfamiliar transactions immediately. Update your ID details, address, and contact info regularly with SASSA to prevent flags. Most importantly, if you get a message, email, or SMS from SASSA asking for verification, do not ignore it. Ignoring a request for documentation could lead to a suspension that takes months to fix. The bottom line is this: SASSA in 2025 is not the same as SASSA in 2020. The system is changing. It's becoming more digital, more automated, and, unfortunately, more difficult to navigate for the average South African. These hidden rule changes are affecting real people. Grandmothers trying to feed their families. Young adults trying to find work. Disabled citizens who already face daily challenges. And unless we talk about these changes openly, more people will suffer in silence. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might be affected. The more people we educate, the more we can push for fairness and transparency. And don't forget to subscribe. We are always watching the latest updates, and we'll be the first to break them down so you don't get caught off guard.